Okay, and now we have candidates that want to speak. 5 minutes each, because we had a guest speaker today. So, who would like to go first? We have Cornel, we have Jane, and we have John Van Giesen. Any other candidates here? Would you like to speak, Cornel?
I went first last time. I can do it again, sure.
Okay.
Well, I don't have any exciting stories like Scott. But I want you've all heard what a rhino is. I would like to refer to myself as a rifo, which is a Republican in fact only. What I try to do is make sure that whenever I'm contacted, and I get contacted regularly on my website, I'll give you a little bit of my background here in a minute, but I get contacted by my website, and I get contacted by phone call, and I get contacted by email, and I have a business in Sandpoint. I have people come in the store, and when they ask me a question, I've tried to do what politicians normally don't do. I don't like to call myself a politician. I hope I'm not considered a politician, but you know, they're blood-sucking creatures that they are. So I like to give you an answer and then explain the answer, rather than launch into. I'm famous for never using a sentence when a paragraph will do. So I try to give you the answer first and then explain it. And so I did that today in an email I sent out. It was a whole page and a half, but all the information was up front, and then the explanation was after it. I believe that when you elect someone who goes to the state legislature for you, or any other legislature, or county, or sheriff, or whatever, you are comparing them, if they've never been in office before, to what they say they are. And if they say they are a Republican, well then, those of you who do a little bit of research, you go to the Republican platform, and just your common sense, because you've been Republicans all your life, and you say, okay, this is what a Republican's supposed to do. Now, what are you gonna do? And you can look at voting records and see that some of the people that claim to be ours ain't. And that's actually in the dictionary now. Ain't is in the dictionary, so I get to use it. Actually, it's been in the dictionary for a long time. I think when I was in high school, it was in the dictionary. So I try to make sure that what I do comports with the U.S. Constitution as much as possible to the Idaho Constitution, because I will tell you the Idaho Constitution ain't all it's cracked up to be. There's a few things, especially Article 11 with regard to firearms, which I will look at when I get into office. But I try to make sure that my ideals comport to the Constitution, first of all to the Bible, secondly to the Constitution, and thirdly to the Republican platform. And so I will tell you up front, for example, that when I looked at the Republican platform, and I actually been involved in this game for the better part of 4 decades. I've been involved in some of what's in the Republican platform. I think it's not quite conservative enough, but it's pretty good. It's a good platform. And so you can look at that platform and compare what your legislators are doing to what theoretically Republicans all over the state of Idaho over the last several decades have come up with as a Republican ideal. And do some of you do that? Have you ever looked at the Republican platform? Mm-hmm. You just go to idgop.org and resources, and it's got the platform, it's got the rules, it's got all kinds of other boring stuff that weird political nerds like us love. So with that, a couple of other things. I'm gonna back up now. For those of you who don't know me, I'm from Bonner County. When I was a child and a teenager, I spent a bit of time in Boundary County. And those were times where we came up here basically and bought hay and hauled it home. So today was a much nicer trip. I'm not gonna be loading hay. I'm just gonna be eating something on the way home. But we spent a fair amount of time up here because I grew up on a cattle ranch, and where we lived up at the end of Rapid Lightning Creek, we couldn't produce enough hay to feed. We had 450 head of cattle, and we couldn't produce enough hay, so I had to buy it. Or well, I was 15. I didn't buy anything. I just did what I was told, which was load the hay and unload the hay. So we came up here. So I spent time then, but I haven't spent a lot of time as an adult. So a lot of you don't know me. I have a wife who I've been married to for 47 years, be 48 this year, and I don't know how she survived it, but I love her. And I have 3 kids. They're all adults, and I have 16 grandkids. Actually, Luke, my oldest grandson, ran the store for me while I came up here. I got a text from him a little while ago. He says, I took apart the cast iron display and the hat display, and I didn't get it finished, so I'll get it finished in the morning. He's one of those employees that just takes it on himself and fixes stuff. And they say the genius gene skips a generation, and my dad was a genius. So was my son, and it didn't skip that generation. But so I have 16 grandkids. I live about 10 and a half miles south of Sandpoint in a little burg called Westmond. Any of you know where Westmond is?
No.
Yeah, it's on the north end of Coquilala Lake. And I've been involved politically for most of my adult life. I've written legislation. Years ago, we worked to try and stop what's called a business improvement district. I know how to work with coalitions. I know how to encourage people to think through things. And we actually created you know what a business improvement district is? Oh, that's too bad that you actually know what it is. It's really a disaster. But
Yes, it
it's
is.
what's called a municipal corporation. And basically, what I found out about this was, I don't want to take too much time here, but so we had some women going around Sandpoint, and they said, would you like to be involved in a business improvement district? And it's voluntary. Remember Scott told you that some of the legislators lied to him, and some of the lobbyists lied, and they said that they had a contract and they didn't have a contract, and money had exchanged hands and money hadn't exchanged hands. Well, we found out this was decades ago. This was like 1999, 98. And no, it's just voluntary. Here's what I said to him. I said, I'm not a joiner. Thanks anyway. Well, I found out later that all you have to have is 51% of the assessed value in a arbitrarily drawn, and I mean arbitrary, and I'll tell you how arbitrarily drawn boundary. If you get 51% of the assessed footage, not 51% of the people, and they all say yes, you just became a member of a business improvement district. That puppy cost me 10 grand. And I got, you know what I got out of it?
A bill.
Excuse me?
A bill.
A bill.
Yeah.
I got nothing. And I would explain to him, I don't want anything. I don't want the city I don't want this welfare, this corporate welfare thing. I want to make it on my own. So at any rate, I'm getting way off into the weeds here. I understand a bit about how government works. I was a county commissioner. I worked I was on the budget committee I was on the health district. I was the county commissioner for our area, our county that was on the health district board. So I worked with JFAC for budgets. So I'm not going to be a newbie in Boise. I'm going to be, I'll have enough of an understanding to get myself in trouble if I don't ask good people to give me advice. But I'll have enough of an understanding to hit the ground running. And I've got plans, I've got some ideas. By the way, if any of you have any ideas for legislation that you think needs to be done, send it to my email. I'm creating a list, checking it twice, and I'll look into whatever we can do on that. But I want to represent you. I believe in contacting people. I'll stay in contact with you. I'll be involved with any town halls that happen. I have the ability to travel now. My grandson and other grandson both run my store for me often, so I can get out and communicate with you. So Cornel Rasor, running for Idaho Legislature, seat B in District 1, which is basically the Canadian border to the southern end of Bonner County, minus 3 partial precincts. So would you allow me to have any questions? Anybody have any questions?
Any questions?
That was all over the place, so figure that out. If you took notes, I'll help you sort them out later.
Okay, thank you, Cornel.
Thank you.